There are extensive life-giving benefits to sun exposure, but you may have been told to lather up with sunscreen 2 to 3 times per day so that you don't get skin cancer or your skin doesn't just age, aggressively. Let me assure you, out of the gate, walking around with sunscreen on 24/7 is not the way to healthy skin and a skin cancer-free life. But there are definitely times where sunscreen can be valuable, and there are specific things you can look for to identify a sunscreen, a potion, a lotion that will actually support UVB, UVA blockage without essentially poisoning your body in the process. We want all the goods with none of the side effects, right? That's what I'm shooting for. All right, welcome back, health accumulators. So hit that subscribe button and click the little bell to be notified when there's a new video coming out or is about to load. And I'll be hanging out here on Fridays in the comments section after the video is posted and released to respond to any of your comments. I recently had a patient who had been instructed to apply sunscreen multiple times per day, even though they weren't, going outside to the beach, they weren't going out on a long hike, they were just going to be inside, walking from their house to their car, to their office space, to the grocery store. But they were so concerned because of what they've been told about, the ravages of the sun, that they needed to have that sunscreen on no matter what. The sun could come through the windows in their house, through the windshield when they're driving down the road. Not to mention, just like that those few moments they're walking from their car to a building. And at one point, I would have taken, a backseat and thought, whoa, this is crazy what this person's saying. I've never heard of this before. What are people telling people? But now it's like, man, all the time I hear this kind of stuff. Sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. Screen ourselves from the sun. Bad idea. So consider the following. Before using standard sunscreen and making these habits as your way to redeem your skin from UVA and UVB radiation, the single study that is most often propagated to promote sunscreen as the be-all end-all for decreasing cancer risk of the skin was done in Australia in 1999 and was funded in part by Procter & Gamble, makers of sunscreens that the majority of us are, or not me, but the majority are using out there right now. So not to mention, the study had participants also consume beta carotene, which is a known antioxidant that has great value for the skin, along with the application of the sunscreen. So was it the sunscreen that had shown statistically significant benefits for decreasing squamous cell carcinoma? Or was it the beta carotene that was helping out? Or was it the fact that people were using sunscreen and beta carotene? Of course, the story goes where it was just the sunscreen. Lathering sunscreen, more the better, as part of a daily routine is what you want to do to mitigate skin aging and sun-induced cancer risk. So what would be some reasons we actually might want to use sunscreen? There is reasons. It is true that a cumulative sun exposure does definitely prematurely age our skin. And that would manifest as more wrinkles, more age spots, and even in those genetically susceptible, increased risk of basal cell and squamous cell skin cancers. But just not taking care of ourselves, eating junk food, not sleeping also does the same thing. So if you have issues with skin, hyperpigmentation, sun exposure, it's probably gonna make it worse, and it would make it worse. If you live closer to the equator or at high altitudes where you're getting increased ultraviolet exposure, you also are going to be at a higher risk and want to be watchful and consider sunscreen, screening from the sun. And you have fair skin, you have light hair, lighter colored eyes, you will have lower melanin in your skin, which the job of melanin is to basically absorb the ultraviolet rays to protect our skin, your skin. So melanin also, acts as this like free radical scavenger to decrease the oxidative stress caused by ultraviolet rays. It's just awesome. Every time I look in the body, it's like the body's more awesome than I realized. Even a person without fair skin who is simply, working in an office all day, then riding in a car, hanging out at the house, not getting outside, not getting sun exposure, and then, all of a sudden they show up in Hawaii for a vacation on spring break, they would be well served to utilize some kind of sunscreen while their body acclimates to this, inundation, this excessive, this amount of increased sun exposure. And the sun exposure, the rays, they actually upregulate our production of melanin. So as you are in the sun, your body will actually increase more melanin production, which allows you to absorb more and more and redistribute more and more ultraviolet rays and push them to the upper layers of our skin. It's just amazing, isn't it? This UV radiation, the body knows it could damage the cells. It could damage cell integrity. So we're gonna create more melanin and we're gonna push it to the surface, this radiation. So ideally, if we're going to be at the beach, on the lake all day, mowing the lawn from say 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., or hiking at elevations, or just literally hiking outside, middle of July, it would be a good idea to wear clothing or a head protection covering to protect ourselves from excessive sun exposure, and put some sunscreen on our nose, on our ears. Moderate sun exposure is less damaging than getting it, just a good burn 1 to 2 times a year. So some people think, just who cares? We're getting burned. Yeah, it's no big deal. It's every August it happens, and you don't. It's just like going for a walk. A person that walks on a regular basis, has a walking routine, is way less likely to have joint issues compared to the person that does a Tough Mudder every 6 months and just ravages their body for a short time period and then goes back to sedentary lifestyle. So when it comes to sunscreen utilization, I think it's really important to recognize once again that what goes on us here goes in us. So when you choose a sunscreen, it's really important to stay away from things like nano zinc oxide and nano titanium oxide. These nanoparticles can penetrate the skin barrier and can actually accumulate in our tissues, causing cellular damage and even genetic damage. So choose non-nano zinc oxide. Non-nano zinc oxide. That would be my favorite barrier outside of clothing for discharging excessive UVB, UVA light. Remember, these mineral sunscreens, they work by creating an actual physical barrier to repel the UV radiation. So as soon as you apply them, boom, they're going to work. You don't have to wait half an hour before you go in the ocean. This is unlike the chemical sunscreens, which are actually the standard ones out there that most people are actually using, that have to be absorbed to work. You got to sit there for 15 minutes, got to wait 30 minutes, got to do it before you got to the pool. And that just sounds terrible. It's a terrible idea. Using chemicals to try to basically absorb the rays instead of actually using a barrier. So you might see stickers like it's reef friendly, it's reef safe, or it's mineral based. These words are not legally defined, and they literally are purely marketing tactics to make you think something is safe for you or has something there for you that it may not actually have there for you. So there are a couple brands that I was thinking of as of June 2024, when this video is being made, that you may want to look into and have, as far as no negative health impacts on us. And that is the Think Sport brand, 4Ocean, Babel Botanicals, and Badger brands. All of these have at least 20% zinc oxide. They have minimal or no alcohols in them. They have no phthalates. They have no parabens. And they have no chemical sunscreens in them or perfumes. And you can go to the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. It's great. They do a good job. And you'll see sunscreens that are on there that are kind of such a recommended or have a green look to them that contain titanium dioxide. Not the nano one, but just straight up titanium dioxide. And they're considered safe for topical use. But I would stick with zinc oxide brands, as there just really isn't much data on titanium dioxide topically, and if it truly is safe, and if it truly is not going to be an irritant to our being. And because we already know from the European food and safety regulators that titanium dioxide taken orally, which is in so many things, is not safe for human consumption, and we should not be consuming it. But all kinds of things that are processed have it in it all the time. So tell me, what is your favorite sunscreen? There are so many out there. Let me know in the comments if you have one that checks the boxes and has worked really well for you. People are always looking for new sunscreens, that work for them and that others have already tried, are already weathered through a big sunny day. So if you're a fan of the sun, man, hit that like button and let's get some sun. I'm pumped for a great summer. I'll talk to you guys and gals later.